Now on ITV1 Wales Not As Billed, we're off to Fishguard to meet the Hollywood stars as Hugh Pugh presents the Fishguard Film Festival.
Action! Hello, I'm Hugh Pugh and this is the Fishguard Film Festival. Hello and welcome to Fishguard. Yes, Fishguard, where once again it's time for the world-famous Fishguard Film Festival, held annually, annually, every year. And this year is no exception. Yes, once again the stars and starlets of the slippery screen have shunned the Oscars and come to Fishguard, hoping to win the coveted Fish d'Or, or gold fish as it's known to foreigners. But what's so special about Fishguard that the biggest names in Hollywood want to risk their lives by coming here? Fishguard is the only place in Wales that's not in colour, thanks largely to the influence of one man, Mayor of Fishguard, Mr. Kenny Twat, who led a campaign to keep Fishguard in black and white when the rest of Wales went into colour 30 years ago. It's a place of contradictions, although many local people say that it's not. Situated on the west coast of Wales, Fishguard is also the capital city of Ghana in Africa. And being on the coast means that Fishguard is ideally placed to cater for two major industries, tourism and sewage. Yes, Fishguard is the sewage capital of Europe. And every year more than 1 billion trillion willion tons of the stuff arrives in the post from as far away as Russia. Yes, it might be excrement to them, but in Fishguard it's their bread and butter. And the town's motto is, our business is your business. Don't worry, that's not raw sewage they're pumping into Cardigan Bay. It's all been cooked by some of Wales's top chefs. And if you think they treat the sewage well, you should see how they treat the tourists. See Naples and die. See Fishguard and you'll want to die. Yes, Fishguard. When all the razzmatazz of the film festival has been cleaned up and the crime rate is returned to normal, it's a place where 95% of the population is the majority. Well, that's more than enough about Fishguard. I'm outside Gristle's Abattoir and Burger Bar, where in 7 days' time the awards will be presented for this year's best films. And as usual, the field is dominated by talking pictures, with the old silent movies increasingly unpopular, even among deaf people. And the hot favourite to win a prize is My Coracle is Damp, a love story written and directed by well-known Welsh movie mongrel Geraint Pillock. It's up for Best Film, Best Direction, Best Screenplay, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Costume, Best Makeup, and Best Coracle, competing against no other films. In fact, it's the only film in the competition, apart from Best Foreign Film, where the contenders are American Beauty, The Matrix, The Sixth Sense, The Green Mile, and Citizen Kane. Good. Well, I'll be talking to Geraint Pillock later on. But first of all, let's find out what they're all saying about the film that they're all talking about. My Coracle is Damp. What's it all about?
Homosexuality.
What?
Homosexuality.
Homosexuality? I thought it was about coracles.
No.
Hang on a minute. Did you think it was about homosexuality?
Yes.
Did you see him doing anything?
No.
What did you think of it?
Well, a bit frightening, I think, in parts. A bit far-fetched, you know?
Yes. Many people in Fishguard have never seen a homosexual, and Geraint Pillock's film has stirred up a storm of controversy about whether or not they actually exist. Do you think homosexuals exist?
Oh, definitely, yes. I'm sure they do.
Do you think homosexuals exist?
No, I don't.
What do you think about it?
Well, is it decent? Is it decent? I mean, you asked me that. You answered me that question. Is it decent? I don't think it is.
Well, it's very popular. Everyone in Cardiff is a homosexual these days.
Yes, I agree with that. But do you think it's fair to the younger girls?
What do you think?
I have lived in 11 Lorraine Avenue for 41 years.
Well, move then. You enjoyed my coracle is damp so much that you've decided to become a homosexual. But do you realise what this involves?
Well, tell you the truth, my wife is teaching me today. I am taking much interest in the
homosexuality. But don't you think at your age that you're a bit old to learn about Judy Garland and boy bands?
Well, no, I don't think so. I'm 71. I got plenty of time to learn yet.
What do you think of homosexuality?
Very, very good indeed.
I think it's ridiculous.
Well, I generally leave to the missus, see.
Let's have a look at the film. I do love you.
I love you as well.
Oh, I've wet my coracle. Controversial stuff there from Geraint Pillock, who I'll be talking to later in the programme. Meanwhile, the celebrities have started to arrive. Here's Elizabeth Taylor with a selection of husbands. And there's Bridget Bardot with some of her friends. And who's that in the Wolseley? God blimey, it's only Marlene Dietrich. Marlene, it's Hugh Pugh. Oh, Marlene. And inside that box is well-known neurotic Greta Garbo, famous for wanting to be left alone. Top stars demand top accommodation, and that's no problem in Fishguard. Most of them probably think they're still in Beverly Hills. Being so close to Leonardo DiCaprio's caravan is just a bit too much for these fans. There's Sophie Loren going back to her caravan for a bit of a lie down. And there's Gregory Pecker, her new boyfriend. We know where you're going, Gregory. Way, man. Some of the film stars prefer to bring their own caravan. Here's Paul Newman towing a top-of-the-range Wayfarer companion. And many visiting celebrities have unusual requirements. This accommodation has been specially adapted for Danny DeVito. And it's taken the chambermaid more than 7 hours to stock up Jack Nicholson's minibar. Warrant Beatty is staying at Flaps, the local campsite. I asked him how he liked being under canvas. Warrant, I was reading in a movie magazine that you were related to Baden Powell. He liked camping, didn't he?
Your movie magazine?
Yeah, this one. They claim that you are related to Baden Powell. Is that true?
Well, in a sense. Because, of course, my sister is Shirley MacLaine, and then my mother was a teacher of acting in college.
Oh, really?
And then my mother's mother taught
I had a mother.
acting when they called it elocution.
And Baden Powell? Okay, fair enough, if we don't want to talk about it. What have you got in the thermos, then?
Oh, mostly scotch.
Scotch? That'll keep you warm and you sleeping bag. Hey, is that bloke touching your fly sheet? Looks like Warren, man! Oh, he's only got to run off, hasn't he? I'll have that. Does he do that often?
Yeah, I don't know.
Blimey, it's East Clintwood. He's buggered off as well, hasn't he? Warrant Beatty having a bit of trouble with his accommodation there. But one film star who's well set up is the gorgeous Michelle Pfeiffer, who's renting my flat for the week. Michelle, how do you feel about living in my flat?
Well, mad, of course, and everything is upside down.
Oh, so it's not tidy enough for you, is it?
You ought to go upstairs and see upstairs. It's wicked up there.
I told you the upstairs toilet don't work. The flush is broken.
It's no good to pull it down and put it up again.
Pulling it up and down won't fix it.
All the time, you're going to leave it as it is.
Oh, that's lovely, isn't it? So I'm going to come back to a week of Michelle Pfeiffer in the bowl. Why can't you go in the garden?
Sorry.
Well, you don't sound very sorry to me. I'm living in a bloody skip so you can stay there. And you don't look so good without your makeup on. At least she's got somewhere to stay. Unlike star of Hollywood blockbusters Independence Day and Men in Black, Will Smith. Will, you were planning on staying at the youth hostel, but they're full up. What are you going to do?
Well, I don't know. You see, they told us the scenery would be about 3 weeks' time.
But the festival only lasts a week.
Well, certainly, we're quite disappointed.
A disappointment there for Will Smith, here to promote the re-release of his very first film, 6 Degrees of Separation, in which, ironically, he plays a character who has nowhere to live. But as far as all the other big stars are concerned, Michelle Pfeiffer, Fishguard offers all the comforts of home, And with a bonfire on every street corner, the temperature in Fishguard is exactly the same as in Hawaii. Of course, a major international event of this nature costs a lot of money. I asked festival manager Herbert Dipp exactly how much, approximately. Mr. Dipp, exactly how much does all this cost, approximately?
In round figures, it costs us approximately £700 a year to promote the contest, and we think it is money very well spent.
£700? That's more than £500, isn't it?
The publicity value is really tremendous.
Fair enough. And now it's time to go over to Sardine Street, where this year's film festival is about to be officially opened by Mayor of Fishguard, Mr. Kenny Twat. Mr. Twat there, very proud of his own connection to the world of the movies. It was his great-grandfather, Titus Twat, who peeled the potatoes in the film Goodbye, Mr. Chips. That's the festival open. And here comes the parade, led as usual by the Haverfordwest slappers and scrapers. Hard to believe, isn't it, that last night every one of those girls was the victim of an attempted murder. South Wales gynecologists there, a very brave band of men doing a very dangerous job. Only this week, a trapped gynecologist had to be rescued by a crack team. The Scout movement. And here are some of the celebrities mingling with the local people. Ingrid Bergman, Peter Sellers. There's Elizabeth Taylor showing her ring to the crowd. The atmosphere is happy and relaxed as local people look forward to 7 days of... Oh, no, I don't believe it. Not again. It's like this every year. What's happening is that everyone is panicking because they think that the film stars have escaped from their televisions.
Don't panic. These film stars have not escaped. Their television sets are still full.
They don't trust modern technology in Fishguard. Most television sets are kept in locked boxes when not in use, in case the people in the television programs try to get away, which is what we should do now. Well, I think this would be a good time to take a commercial break. Join me in part 2, when I'll be talking to Geraint Pillock and finding out just how seriously they take security at the festival.
You are not on the guest list. Shove off.
See you in part 2.
Welcome.
Well, I've just had a shit, so I think we're ready to start part 2 of the programme. And the film festival have brought half of Hollywood to Fishguard, hoping to win the highly prized Fish D'Or, which is awarded only to those who win it. But one man who already knows that he'll be winning an award is the man that local people call Geraint Pillock, because that's his name. The festival committee have decided that he should win this year's Lifetime Achievement Award for the 17th time. I'm now joining Geraint live on the location of his latest film, Titanic, using his own coracle. Come on, Geraint. Well, let's make a start. Geraint Pillock's extraordinary film career began in radio, with his gritty Welsh drama, Watch Out, the Bus is Coming.
Mother, I think the bus is coming.
Oh, my goodness. Quick, boy, run upstairs and tell your grandfather to borrow a pair of trousers. The play was so realistic that thousands of Welsh people were crushed to death as they ran to the bus stop in the mistaken belief that the bus was coming. Encouraged by this, Geraint decided to try his hand at films. And his very first film was a Welsh remake of The Magnificent Seven. Because he could only afford 5 horses, 2 of the characters drove around in a car. The critics loved it. Good is not the word, said the Fish Guardian. Geraint Pillock had arrived, as indeed he has. Up you come, Geraint. Put your feet on the bank. Leave the coracle. Leave the coracle. Leave it! Well, first of all, Geraint, I'd like to ask you about My Coracle is Damp, which has caused a lot of controversy at this year's festival. Why did you decide to make a film about homosexuality?
Mainly because it's a challenge.
First of all, it's a challenge for me. Secondly, it's a challenge for the coracle. And again, it's a personal challenge for me to keep the coracle and the tradition alive.
So there's a tradition of homosexuality in coracles. I didn't know that. Geraint, can I ask you, are you a homosexual?
Well, I've had a few years' experience.
Right. Well, we won't go into that. I'd like to talk to you about your remake of The Sound of Music now. This is another film that caused a lot of controversy when it first came out because of your extraordinary decision to cast a Land Rover in the Julie Andrews role. Let's see a clip of The Sound of Music, starring a Land Rover. Now, Geraint, you obviously like doing remakes of films because you're working on another one now. Why did you choose Titanic?
Mainly because it's a challenge. First of all, it's a challenge for me. Secondly, it's a challenge for the coracle. And again, it's a personal challenge for me.
Is there another reason?
Another reason I got is because it has been done before.
Of course. Otherwise it wouldn't be a remake, would it? No. One final question. Geraint, why do you make such controversial and challenging films?
Mainly because it's a challenge.
Of course. Meanwhile, the festival is in full swing. Unfortunately, with so many celebrities around, there's always the danger of stalking. And sure enough, Richard Gere was caught hanging about outside Sophie Loren's caravan yesterday lunchtime and had to be asked to leave by Fishguard police. In fact, the behaviour of quite a few of the stars have caused concern. Only this morning, Marilyn Monroe blatantly ignored the bylaw which prohibits running on the beach. That's what I call blatant. And heartthrob Leonardo DiCaprio had to be sent home after he was caught doing a wee-wee in the water. And it turned out that Warrant Beatty had put more than his tent up when he was here for the last festival 12 months ago. Of course, the perennial problem with the rich and famous is, well, the fact that they're rich and famous for a start, but apart from that, drugs. I asked the most evil man in Fishguard, local drug pusher Wicked Jenkins, exactly how much drug he's pushing at the moment.
Well, at the moment, it's we could sell about 10 tons, I think.
Tell me, as a corrupter of morals and destroyer of innocent young lives, what do you say to people who want to ban drug?
They don't know what they're missing.
Local criminal Wicked Jenkins, who wishes to remain anonymous. Fortunately, most people in Fishguard are decent and right-minded, and the appalling doings of their celebrity guests fills them with vomit. You've had trouble with film stars all week. What have they been up to?
Well, in the gardens. I mean, my husband puts in cabbages and that leads a lot of them. Yeah. Come down one morning, there wasn't a cabbage left, and the state of the gardens is terrible.
They ate your cabbages. And you're not too happy with them either, are you?
Well, for one thing, I don't like the smell of them in the bus shelter when I'm waiting to go to work in the morning.
Well, after all those cabbages, I'm not surprised. What's your objection?
Well, my objection is this. Being an officer of the church, a deacon and a secretary,
well,
the responsibility that is placed upon us.
Sorry, I gotta go and interview someone else.
Better.
What do you think of the film stars?
I think they're absolutely disgusting.
Do you want to give them a good kicking?
Yes, I do.
Yes, the mood of the people of Fishguard is ugly. And not just the mood. The whole place is a festering boil of resentment waiting to burst. And the pus of retaliation finally came shooting out at popular local nightclub Fists, when Drink Yourself Unconscious Night was gate-crashed by a coachload of celebrities. The final straw came when Bridget Bardot sent one of her dogs to the bar for a packet of caviar-flavoured crisps. moments, Fishguard police, looking for trouble as usual, were on the scene. And the rest of the night was spent getting the autographs of and then arresting some of the biggest stars in Hollywood. There goes Warrant Beatty. And that's Lassie being taken in. Things looking a bit dodgy there for the celebrities.
Look at this one.
Things are also looking a bit dodgy for tonight's festival award ceremony. My coracle is damp has been withdrawn from the competition because by promoting homosexuality in a coracle, it contravenes Section 28 of the law. And in the only other category, Best Foreign Film, the judges have decided not to award a prize this year because the standard of the Hollywood films is too low. Which leaves only Geraint Pillock's Lifetime Achievement Award. It's hardly worth going, really. Still, I might get my end away. Well, the award ceremony have just started, and as you can see, it's absolute pandemonium here, because we've just heard that Geraint Pillock, who is to receive the only award left in the ceremony, is dead. He was killed this afternoon on the location of his latest film, Titanic. It happened in the scene where the Titanic's captain goes down with his ship and drowns. Geraint, striving for total realism as ever, insisted that he too should go down with his coracle and drown. Mainly, he said, because it's a challenge.
Because it's a challenge. Because it's a challenge. Because it's a challenge.
Local fish were shocked by the news. They regarded Geraint as one of them, and indeed, for many years, Geraint had been an honorary fish. Mayor of Fishguard, Mr. Kenny Twat, who've lost a bit of height since last year's festival, makes the announcement. And there's the Fishguard Film Festival Lifetime Achievement Oven-Ready Chicken, being presented to Geraint's mother, Mrs. Pillock, clearly very distressed. It's an oddly appropriate award. The chicken is dead, and so is Geraint. Geraint Pillock, a legend in his own coracle. What a tragedy. Well, that's it for this year. The stars have all been released from the cells and they're on their way home. There's Clark Gable on his lawnmower, mad as a box. And that's Dean Hackman having a wee-wee into a tumble dryer before he flies off in his executive jet. Disgusting. There goes Gregory Pecker's chopper. He certainly enjoyed himself with Sophie Loren, if the state of their caravans is anything to go by. Look at all that Kleenex they got through. Yes. The behaviour of some of these stars of the slippery screen leaves quite a lot to be desired, quite frankly. And as far as the people of Fishguard are concerned, let's hope they all come back again next year and spend another fortune. This is Hugh Pugh in Fishguard. Good night. Doing here? Can you understand the program's finished?
Yes, it's easily to understand, but I don't think the pedestrian can do the same.
What's a pedestrian got to do with it? The show's over. You don't have to drive a car to understand that, man. So, you can go. Go on. Go on, man. What's the matter with you? Haven't you got a home to go to?
No.